Excited to be here. Wait, I have to hit the got it button.
At Messick.
Got it button. We're
Large fish.
Whoa!
Whoa!
I wish I could hug you.
Well, why can't we get together? Then we could really hug.
So anyway, let's get started. I'm Irene Tynes. As of July 1st, now the incoming or the current president of LWVCO Colorado. And I'm so excited about this. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm a little nervous. It'll make me a little nervous. All the stuff that you know, the combined brain power and empathy and passion and advocacy that I'm seeing in front of me is pretty darn exciting. I've been mostly working with the state board, which I'm not going to discount that they're not as brilliant and passionate, Barb, Karen. But it is exciting for me to do this. I told Beth that I was a little nervous about this, and she said, nervous? This is like my favorite thing to do all month. This is so much fun. You're going to love it. You're going to love to hear what everybody has to say. So I'm just going to stop right there and say, hey, Beth, take over for us and kind of coordinate this meeting, and so everybody gets a word in.
Great. Thanks, Irene. Let's do just introductions. I will lead real quick just to keep it from being too chaotic. If you'll please just say your name and your league and what else, Irene? What else should we ask them for?
So, well, I'm gonna do this to the board next week, because this is really interesting to me, because I think it's one of our priorities at the state, and I think with all of you, is news access. So, hey, is there something out there that maybe we ought to follow? Do you have something that you've read or done in a sentence or two or less that you think that we need to jump on board and do a little more research? Not the top headline. The top headline, look, we're getting bombarded, right? And right now it's with Trump and January 6th and all that. What's something that you want us to jump in and do something about, or read about, or hear about? There you go.
And there's a lot of us, so it's got to stay short, please.
It's got to be a sentence. Is there something that you want to highlight?
But I'm Beth Hendricks. I'm the executive director of the Colorado League of Women Voters. I would really like to introduce a new colleague before we start the round robin.
Great.
Hannah Pogue is our new operations manager. She started on Monday. Please welcome her. You're all gonna love working with her. I just know it. And so break her in gently, please. But Hannah, would you like to say hi?
Yes. Hi, everyone. It's nice to meet you all, even though it's virtually for right now, but I'm really excited. This has been a very fun week so far, and I'm really excited to get to know everyone and to hear what everyone has to say tonight and, throughout the rest of my time here. So yeah, thank you all so much. And I'm really excited.
Great. Thanks, Hannah. Okay, I'm just going to start at the top and go around according to my screen. Kate Van Houten.
Oh, great. Thanks. I am with Jeffco, and my home unit kind of is Lakewood Golden. And I was really pleased to hear that the activist that was being interviewed that did most of the work to get Kansas together to vote no on the amendment, what they did a organizational group effort, and the highlight of it was League of Women Voters.
Oh, wow.
Top of line. So
Excellent. I know that we here in Colorado certainly sent people to phone bank for them. Jan Edwards.
I'm Jan Edwards. I'm from the Uncompahgre Valley. That was Montrose. and now is Montrose Delta and Uray counties. And two things we've been talking about. One is an effort by the Western Colorado, well, I don't know if they're the conference anymore, or the Alliance. Anyway, they're doing something called deep listening, talking to people with incomes below, say, 50,000 a year. And it's really a cool project. I don't know how far we're going to get involved, but we're talking to them about getting a training done. The other thing was I last week sat through all the classes of energizing young voters, and that is awesome work. And so we're going to figure out a way to shoehorn that in. I'm not saying when. We got a lot in front of us, but those are two things.
Great. Well, I hope you'll share, Jan. Jane Hamburger.
Hi, Jane Hamburger. I'm with the League of Women Voters of Larimer County. I'm its spokesperson and president. I would be very interested if our news access followed the money in politics a little more.
Oh, interesting. Pat Messick.
I changed my name to just be Pat there.
Sorry.
So that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm glad you remembered it was Messick or something. Maybe you haven't. I'm with the Jeffco League. My local discussion group is the South Unit. I've been working on two committees, one state, one national. Both of them are presenting virtual webinars in September. And I'd like to get, I'm pretty sure the Colorado one is already set to be on the state calendar, but I don't think the national one is. So who should I send the information to about that?
Hannah Poe.
Hannah Pogue. Okay.
Hannah, will you put your email in the chat, please? Thanks.
Yes, absolutely.
Great.
So
Linda
anyway,
Mahan. Oh, sorry, Pat.
That's me.
Go ahead. Please finish.
It's
Are
okay.
you're done?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Sorry. Linda Mahan.
I'm Linda Mahan from League of Larimer. And one thing that I would like to investigate is putting together some group at the state level that would look at immigration. I think it may be time that we all reacquainted ourselves with our position. And that if there are some leagues I know in the past that have been presenting programs on that and even making them open to all of us, I'd like to gather them all in and see if we can't do some more on that issue. I have some materials from the National Convention, and this Sunday there's going to be a webinar with the sponsoring group that had the caucus. And that would be a time when I'm learning what else other states might be doing. So if you're interested in the subject, put your name and your email in the chat, and we'll get the chat afterwards, right, Beth? That
Yes.
I can capture all those, just say immigration interest, and then give me that, and we'll get us all together.
Yeah, we are very happy to create a statewide task force based on member interest, if that's what anybody wants.
Yeah, if we have interest, that's what I'd like to know, what interest there is.
Could I expand your Linda to
Yes.
migration also? Because we are experiencing already, and nobody's really talking about it, is climate caused migration.
Yes, that's all under the umbrella too. I mean, I
Okay.
think we could, it just, let's see what the interest is. Pull positions from a couple places. Yeah.
Cool.
Those climate migrants.
Yeah, good point, Pat.
Yeah.
Karen Cheek.
I'm Karen Sheik. I am from Montesina County and am on the board in a new role is locally support. And I think probably what I would really like to see is somebody had mentioned it earlier, just money in politics, because I think a lot of it comes down to that. We talk about it, but I'm not sure, and I'm not even sure how you go about fixing it. It's like so many of the problems we face.
Yep. Christina Manthe.
Hi, I'm Christina Manthe. I'm the president of the Jeffco League. I just got past something today that there's a new way to prevent voters from voting in special districts. And so we're going to be researching that. It has to do with the Rooney Valley, and we'll see what's going on there.
Great. Christina's kind of honing in on special districts in Jeffco. How many are there?
292.
What?
Yes.
Okay, Ruth Nierenberg.
Well, hi, here in Pueblo. This thing about the news media that you mentioned that captured my attention. Pueblo City Council just recently found out about, we are in a news desert. We are just, frankly, we are in a news desert here. And City Council just found out about a lawsuit being filed against the city by seeing it on the TV news out of Colorado Springs. And they were not happy to have found out about this lawsuit that way. So yeah, this is a big important issue. The other important issue in Pueblo is that Evraz Rocky Mountain Steel, which is partially owned by a Russian oligarch, is being sold. And that's bringing, international problems down to the local level because that affects local jobs. And, there's nobody here to do any sort of a real in-depth story on what that might mean. So we're kind of counting on the Colorado Sun and Colorado Springs, who knows what, to do real reporting on that.
Wow. Thanks, Ruth. If there's some way the State League can support, let us know.
Okay.
Jill Armstrong.
Jill Armstrong. I'm with our North Jeffco or Arvada unit of Jeffco League. Recently, or it was just announced that ballot measure 108, which is a state affordable housing measure, has garnered enough signatures and will be on the ballot in the fall. This is not necessarily a perfect one. I've been doing some research on it, and I've been in several meetings where it's been explained. But this is an opportunity for us to get about $300 million a year into the state coffers to use for affordable housing. And after having researched it, even though it's got a few things that I think are problematic, I really feel like, housing is just a crisis in this state. And we really need to help support this. And I think that the things that we probably find problematic, it does have the ability to be amended by the legislature. So anyway, I really hope we can support that. And I really hope we can get some more people on our state housing task force that we now have. Because again, this is a statewide issue. And I think we need to encourage other parts of the state to get involved.
We'll be talking about all the task forces later and encouraging involvement. Thanks, Jill. Jory Kramer.
Thanks, Beth. I'm Jory Kramer. I'm in Larimer County with Jane and Kathy and Linda. And I work on the News Access and Literacy Task Force. That's one of my things that I like to do. And boy, I'm going kind of in the middle of the pack, but I've just agreed and thought of everything that everybody has said. And, we could just dive so much deeper into every issue that the league works in. And that's why I'm just, News Access really does create a juncture with every single committee, team, task force. And it's so important. And I think Ruth from Pueblo, your story just grabbed my heart. Oh my gosh. And so if there's anything the task force can do, and I don't know what that would be, but let's think about things. But the only other thing I could think of that I've been reading on a lot, anything I can get my hands on, is the water law in Colorado, and why we take water from the Colorado River that's dying to water our fields in northern Colorado, and now Nebraska wants to take water from our reservoirs. And I mean, it's just this convoluted, crazy law, and it would just I've been grateful for the reporting that's been done on it, but I feel like there's been a lot that could be done, a lot more that could be done.
Great. Thanks, Jory. Marge Fish.
Hi, I'm Marge Fish from Denver, a very, very long time league member, and you know, which has really been great. But I would like to see in Denver that we have more of our members involved in the observatory, you know, or going into meetings and being involved, city council. So we're really kind of encouraging our members to get into that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, it says Maddie.
Yeah, that's me.
Great. I'm sorry, I don't know your last name.
It's, oh, sorry, it's Moralia.
Excellent.
I'm brand new to Durango and to League of Women Voters. So I'm just enjoying listening to what everyone's talking about.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Nice.
Yes. That's a great group of people down in La Plata. Kathy Long.
Good evening, everybody. I'm the new vice president here in the Estes Park League. There are lots of things I could piggyback on. The working with the younger voters, connecting. One big thing we have going here is connecting with our Hispanic residents. But if we're just focusing on media, I want to piggyback on what Marge just said. So we are expanding our local observers work because our one newspaper is so limited in resources that they try to do it, but they don't do a very good job. And so we're going to try to have observers at more of our district board meetings and trustee meetings.
Great. Sandy Schuster. Mute.
You're muted, Sandy.
Sandy, you're muted.
I said, you know what I'm going to say, but I also will say that I agree with everything everybody said. I mean, there's no doubt that every one of those things are important. But my area of concentration has been the environment and the crisis that we're having. And I don't know that any of the other things are going to be important if we don't fix that.
Sorry, my son called. Kathy Wilson.
Hi, I'm Kathy Wilson. My home league is Larimer. I am also the co-director for Action and Advocacy for the state, so I'm on the board. I have two things. Today I read in the paper that Weld County, Barb Winery, Weld County was just allowed to have 206 more wells with their northern border on the 34, which is what goes into Loveland. So I'm very concerned about the air quality there. So Sandy, climate and air quality monitoring. The other thing is, right before this meeting, I was in the reproductive justice task force. And one of the things that we talked about were fake abortion clinics here in Colorado. And so people were coming from out of state and states that, have laws that are anti-abortion laws, may get funneled into some of these clinics. One of the things that we can do, and Sharon Davis has a list of 60 of them in the state. Yeah, exactly. That's a jaw dropper.
I don't get it.
In the state. Pardon me?
I want to stop you. I don't get it. What's the fake clinic?
What they do is say they're going to give you counseling and say, oh yeah, that's an option, but, and really push, not
Okay.
having the abortion.
They
And so-
call themselves pregnancy crisis centers,
Right,
and they imply that they offer abortion, but they do not.
right.
Okay,
Right.
thank you.
And one of the things that we can do with the ones that are identified, or if you find out about them, is to go on Yelp and to go on Google and review them and say that these are fake clinics, fake crisis clinics, and have a referral to a real one on them, on your review.
They've got them at the bus stops in Greeley.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Sharon
gosh, there's
also
big
had-
old signs.
Yeah, they're
Sharon-
usually religiously affiliated.
That's right.
But
Sharon
they,
also had great stickers that you can put in like women's bathrooms and light poles and things like that. That say-
particularly if you're traveling out of state.
Yes, yes, and it's a QR code, so people don't have to write anything down, but it sends them to legitimate places where they can get information and services.
And
So
they
do you
make
have a
claims
list
to
of
be
them?
medical without having any medical people involved. No staff.
Yes. Yeah.
How do we know there are 60? We don't have a list?
Yes, we do.
You do have
Sharon
a
does. Let me encourage you, I'll put in a plug right now to join the Reproductive Justice Task Force. They meet every other Thursday at from 5:30 to 6:30.
And we
it's
will
on the
be,
calendar. Pardon?
we will be discussing all of LWVCO's task forces as soon as we're done with introductions.
But
So you'll,
repetition is good.
it's
See.
true, absolutely. It takes 7 times, they say. So thanks, Kathy.
Mm.
Barbara Winnery.
Good, I'm on. Barb Winnery, I'm from Greeley, the famous Greeley Weld that everybody's been talking about.
We need you there, Barb.
I know,
We
holding
need you.
down the fort the best we can up here, believe me. I'm voter service coordinator for my local league, but I'm also voter service co-director on the state board. I have one that's been a real interest of mine, I will say, for 10 or 20 years. And I've followed it. And I don't think we've even looked at it in quite a while at either local or the state level. And that's transportation. And I'll have to tell you, up here in Greeley, one of the candidates that was running for city council said that in the next 5 to 10 years, we would double, there would be 88,000 new cars in Greeley. I will tell you, if you think Denver is bad, Northern Colorado is getting to that point. And it's just, it's crazy. So that whole idea of, I used to follow, how could we do light rail between Loveland and Fort Collins and Greeley and all of that. And that just never materialized. But it's getting to be very unmanageable. So that's my 2 cents on that.
And e-bikes aren't going to do it. Cindy Bullard.
I unmuted myself. Hi, I'm Cindy Bullard. I'm fairly new to Weld County, Greeley. And a lot of what I look at national and state. I've got background with Department of Revenue, so I know what the voting system does there. But I've been watching Amy Klobuchar's bill. She's trying to put one out there for major technology that's getting some huge advertisements that are just full of it. It really is to help us with smaller businesses. It's to get the big guys to let smaller businesses in for advertising online. It's also looking at predatory activity online, which is really important to me because I have a 90-year-old father and he's getting hit on like crazy in this house. He's been hacked. He's been hit every possible way with advertisements. And I don't know what I can do to protect him sometimes. It's bad. It's really bad. But I agree with all of you on all your issues, and I will listen and pay attention.
Thanks, welcome. Michelle Ratcliffe.
I'm a recently joined member. I've only been a member a month, and I'm down in Douglas County. So I'm a member of the Arapahoe Douglas group, and I'm just getting started. I'm interested right now on water issues. We're already at a stage 1 alert for water in Douglas County, and I'm sure there are other areas that are similar. And I did email Maggie Markey, and she's said that she's just getting started again, that kind of the committee fell apart a little bit. So we're just at ground level.
Great. Well, we've got a place for you at the state if you can't get the local up and going.
Well,
Okay.
Maggie is the state water person. So she's got the right person.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, Frank Bennett.
I'm Frank Bennett with the Denver League, and I'm newly elected as the co-director for communication. That's why I'm here tonight. And I'm mostly going to be listening.
Welcome. Great to see you, Frank.
Good to see you, Beth and Barb. And Marge, who I see regularly. So
Cool. Dana.
There we go. Have to unmute myself here. I'll turn on my camera real fast too.
Okay.
I'm Dana Renderneck. I am the new Voter Services Chair at Jeffco League. And so I'm just here to listen and learn and, drinking from the fire hose, as they say, but we're rocking and rolling over here. So it's all good. And I will honestly say, you guys were talking about bills and stuff. I follow a lot of the nonprofit stuff. What bills are important to nonprofits. So that's
Sure.
the stuff I follow.
Great. Nice to see you, Dana. Welcome. Dana and I worked together in our past lives. Okay. Now we are moving on to the agenda to discuss issue area task forces, which have already come up a few different times. These are gatherings of people interested in a particular issue area from around the state. We currently have them in reproductive justice, gun violence prevention, alternative voting methods, housing, healthcare, news access and literacy, and climate emergency. And climate emergency has 6 subgroups, including water. Isn't that correct, Sandy? These are open to all league members and non-league members. If your local league has a group working in this area, awesome. We want to collaborate with you. The thing about our task forces is that they have a direct line to the Legislative Action Committee. That's pretty much the only thing we mandate for these task forces. Otherwise, they're completely member-led in terms of direction and action. But there's got to be a link to the Legislative Action Committee, or else it's just another silo. But we hope that these task forces will kind of act as a farm league for our Legislative Action Committee, will give the Legislative Action Committee people to tap to either research or testify on a particular issue. So they're, like I said, open to all members and non-members. We hope that they will be a great member recruitment tool for action. And we are working on web pages for each of these. Climate Emergency already has theirs, and we're just looking to make sure that all the others have a web page so that people can find them for easy joining and easy communications. Any question? And we will start a new task force with any member interest. Immigration, for instance. So we've heard some talk about education as well. And of course, that's a pretty broad topic, but we're willing and able to serve as a platform for any member interest in action. Any questions? Great. Okay, let's move on to the 2020 or to the 2022 election. We have people working on ballot issues now. Kathy, is there anything you want to say about that to put you on the spot?
We have some of them that the league has taken a position on. We're going to be voting in the board about more of them. Some of them are in the works for the write-ups that you can share with, with voters. So we're in process with that right now.
Mm-hmm. And as usual, we intend to have printed pamphlets, videos, infographics ready by September 24th, which is Making Democracy Work Day. Making Democracy Work Day will be virtual. So we will be mailing out brochures as well as providing PDFs. And we will be in touch with you very soon regarding how many you want and how you want to do it. We will also be offering, again, the option of allowing you all to print your own ballot issue pamphlets if you want to combine local issues with the state issues and just print one pamphlet, one flyer, one whatever. So you will again have two options to either order state ballot issues or basically get a Word document and add your info to it for printing and posting on websites. Jan?
Or what they're going to cost?
We don't know yet. Okay. We're still not sure how big the ballot's going to be. The Secretary of State, still has another almost a month. So, of course, we will do everything we can to keep them as cheap as possible. And I still don't know if we'll be receiving foundation support. But we will be in touch. Any questions there? Okay, so Making Democracy Work Day, it's currently scheduled for September 24th, the morning of September 24th, virtually. We are tossing around changing that, and I'd really like to hear from y'all about that.
Yeah, good
Get
idea.
some feedback, and the reason is because the Women's March is scheduled for the same date and time. And there will be a very strong reproductive justice component to that this year. In the past, the league has had a strong showing at the Women's March. But just how about a quick show of hands? Does anybody just right off the bat have a real strong feeling, I really want to go to the Women's March in Denver, and many other communities plan them on the same date? Any hands if you really feel it's necessary? Great. I mean, I'd like to go.
Why don't you just change the date for
Yeah.
Democracy, and then that way, if it
Mhm.
don't have, if there's not a conflict, and if people decide at the last minute they want to go, they can without feeling like, oh gee, I committed to the other and now maybe I shouldn't.
So how would you all feel about doing Making Democracy Work Day in an evening?
What did you say?
I was gonna say, my feeling is not to delay it too much longer in time,
Yeah.
because a lot of us have set up with
Yeah.
other we've set up committee programs to do those
Right.
presentations. So I'm not opposed to an evening one.
What would
If
you
I
all
wanna
think
delay
of
the
the
date.
Friday evening before the Women's March? So basically 12 hours before we were gonna do it.
That sounds like a good idea, and especially because Barb's right. This has been timed out too. To the election.
Absolutely. I mean, you
The
guys
stuff
need
we're
our
gonna-
ballot issues information. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. This is all timed out, and if people are willing to give up a Friday night, and I also think maybe we might generate some excitement if we can get everybody sort of turned out on Friday night. We then rah them to, hey, join us for the Women's March the next day, right? It's just like a thing we all do together.
Well, I mean, those of us in the metro area anyway.
But as you said, they're going to have
Yeah.
march probably all over the state. We're hoping that this is the coordinated day, right, Beth?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
right.
Beth, how many hours would that be?
It's typically 3 to 4 hours. So I was thinking maybe Friday from 4 to 8 with a half-hour break in the middle.
Well, and it might be a good idea for some local leagues to have a meeting in person at that time.
Sure.
Sure.
Come together and have a watch party.
Yeah.
Is there any violent opposition to doing a Friday late afternoon? Doesn't sound like
I'm sorry, is 4 hours a hard number? Meaning I'm looking
No.
at Barb. I know it's going to take about 4 hours with breaks and everything, Barb.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we've learned over time that maybe 3 or 3.5 hours is max.
Yeah.
So
Well, also-
I'd like to keep it under
the-
around 7 at the most.
Yes.
Also, too, it depends upon how many initiatives are on the ballot too, because that's timely.
Sure.
Yeah, because of course, that's one of the main reasons for
Yes.
Making Democracy Work Day is to talk about what's on the ballot.
Well, I think sometimes we have to change dates and make some things that we have not been doing for 25.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's true. Yeah.
Okay, well, this is great. I appreciate your flexibility. I am talking with National around election issues, what to do if there are election issues. I hope that each local league will have some sort of point person, so that if, particularly around polling places, during the 2020 election, we only heard of one issue, and that was just an internet thing, but it was quickly resolved. But we have state people were connected to the national voter suppression folks, the National Voter Hotline. Hannah and I just met with the Just Vote Colorado coalition, of which we're a part, along with Colorado Common Cause, Colorado Disability Law, Colorado Lawyers Committee. Am I forgetting anyone, Hannah? I think that's it. And they will be manning their voter hotline. So we will be doing a call for volunteers there. If any of you are willing to sign up for a shift with prior training and with expert people there that you can tap if you get a question you just don't know how to answer. So lots of resources, and it's a great way to really be involved in the election. Barb, Kathy, did you want to say anything about the election from the voter services or advocacy standpoint?
Well, I'll just say, what I've heard is and talked to many leagues who are planning candidate forums madly. And everyone is really out there trying to give forums for House districts, congressional districts, which we really haven't done a lot in the past, to my knowledge. So I'm excited. I know we're trying to plan some for the state, so we have some work to do on that, let me just say.
Governor is confirmed.
Yeah, well, I have some yes and no's on my side, so I'll catch up with you on that. But yep, I'm just really pleased that, and there's several new voter service chairs I've spoken with that are just getting their feet wet and trying to figure out what the lay of the land looks like. But I think it's very exciting, all the things that we're planning on doing, and we haven't even gotten into the ballot issue piece yet. So
Yeah,
that's kind of what's new going on my front.
and we are gathering questions for candidate forums. We're looking at a partnership with CU Boulder. They have a panel that evaluates questions for bias. And we have a few experts on that here in the league as well. So let us know how the state league can support. We will be adding webinar capacities very shortly. It's really expensive, and we're happy to do it, but we just put it off till kind of the last minute so that hopefully we can do it for as short as possible, but still help y'all as much as possible. Great, thanks, Pat. So please feel free to use our resources. Just contact me or Hannah to make sure that the calendar is available. Jan.
Yeah, my question is, you mentioned a phone bank and looking for volunteers. Who do they contact?
I'm sorry, what was that, Jan? I couldn't.
You mentioned wanting volunteers for a phone bank for election issues. Who do they contact if they're interested?
Contact me or Hannah if you're interested in that. And we'll both put our emails in the chat. Ruth.
Yeah, you mentioned the questions for candidate forums for Congressional District 3. I happened to listen to a radio podcast, whatever it is, radio show podcast that Sarah Blackhurst did with her Action 22 people. And, they had some really good points, I thought. I mean, it's some good criticism of the questions that we had for that Congressional District 3. For one thing, they had heard from elected officials in the catchment area that our questions did not reflect what people really wanted to know, that there were some wedge issue questions, and certainly not enough about like how to do sustainable farming and that sort of thing. Internet access in the mountains, and so I think that when we're developing questions for the next one, I'm hoping that we'll find a way to reach out to those people and see if we can get some better questions. And another thing that they said that I thought was quite interesting is that from a candidate's point of view, the real reason to participate in a debate is to get a soundbite that they can either use for themselves or against their opponent. And they tend to get the same questions at every debate. I think as the League of Women Voters, we can do better.
Well, I mean, we know that at the state level, some of our legislative priorities are pretty unsurprising. Reproductive justice, gun violence prevention, news access. So we hope that questions will reflect those issues as well as local issues, because I agree with you 100%, Ruth, that is necessary for for local candidate forums.
Mhm.
And if,
And, I think news access is a good one to go ahead. I think that is something that we didn't ask about in the last debates. And I think that that would be a good one for anybody, especially if you're in an area where there is a news desert, where your local newspaper, your local TV station doesn't exist, or they're floundering.
Mhm. Thanks, Ruth. Frank.
You were saying you needed volunteers around the election problems. When are those volunteers going to be needed?
I mean, ideally during the 15 days of that the voting, the
Okay.
polling places will be open. So we've got a while yet.
Okay.
We will be in touch. Kathy.
I want to go back to the questions. One of the things that came up in the reproductive justice task force this afternoon or this evening was to make sure that during the candidate forums, that if a candidate does not answer the question, that you go back and say, so does this mean you do not support reproductive justice legislation or gun violent prevention legislation, to make sure that they say one thing or another, but not be afraid to do that follow-up question.
Yeah, let's talk about moderator training.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
So Karen.
I'll just piggyback on what Kathy's going to say, what she said as well. In conversations that we've had with our working group for our CD3 forum, one of the things we did discuss, I think in our last meeting, was the importance of having follow-up questions and really holding candidates' feet to the fire, not letting them get away with not answering the question. At some point, if they continue to dodge it, then you have to step away and move on. But I think it's important for those in the audience who are viewing these events to see when a candidate simply doesn't respond. Can happen if you have a number of follow-up questions that you can ask. So that should be part of the question development, I think.
Great, thanks. Anything else? I'm kind of figuring that we will be calling another group like this before the election. Certainly, I mean, we would, well, we're scheduled for early October for another statewide league dialogue. And who knows, maybe we'll need until the election to do these monthly. Or maybe we'll just send a lot of emails because, that's another option. Karen, is now a good time for you to talk about local league support, or do you want to wait for a minute?
Oh, I'm good.
Great.
As I said when I introduced myself, I am now the board member who's responsible for local league support. I'm in the process of trying to reach out to each of the local leagues to see when a good time for me might be to attend a Zoom meeting with your membership, or at the very least with your leadership. I've developed some materials that I'd like to be able to share and just introduce myself as much as anything else. I've worked with Kathy and Maud to come up with an information sheet so that we can reach out to leagues across the state to encourage increased participation in the LAC. And I will be talking about task forces as well. I think, Amy, was it housing that you said you were leading that task force? If so, if you would send me your contact information, I'm trying to update some things so that league members who might be interested in some of these task forces but have questions, they have somebody that they can contact other than just contacting the state office. So I'll put my name and contact information in the chat as well, and would encourage you to reach out. You can text me, you can call me, or you can reach me by email, and I'll get back with you as quickly as possible and either be available to answer questions or research information for you, or meet with you via Zoom. If you live close enough, I can come and see you as well. So any questions?
Okay, thanks, Karen. I hope you all know that August 26th is typically known as Equality Day, because it is the day that the National Archivist signed the 19th Amendment into law. LWVUS has kind of semi-directed us to call it Inequality Day this year in response to the overturn of Roe. At the State League office, we are having an Inequality Day Expo in our courtyard outdoor. If you are in the metro area, we'd love to see you. If you're not in the metro area, or even if you are in the metro area, we have created an event in a box so that if your league wants to take advantage of some aspects of Inequality Day and have some sort of activity, we're trying to make it easy for you to do that. Those were sent out to league presidents and such. If there is anyone here who would like to see the event in the box, please raise your hand now and I'll shoot it to you via email. Thanks, Ruth. We'll get that to you. Was that you too, Jill? Okay. And we are really looking at doing a lot more of this, meaning things in a box that we can just hand to you and you can easily implement if you so choose. Of course, nothing's a mandate, everything's just an idea. But we are really looking to support our local leagues in member engagement and member action and leadership development, and to do what we can to make that as easy as possible on you. And we would love to hear any ideas you have on that. Please don't hesitate to call me or email me or Karen or any member of the LWVCO board, including Irene. So now LWVUS, for those of you who were at convention or those of you who heard what happened at convention, the structure transformation was a pretty big deal. And they have extended comment on this until October 11th. I don't feel knowledgeable enough to represent these ideas for national. I am not looking to do that, but I am going to share the information with you so that you can look at it yourself and take it to your local leagues. There are proposed league rights and responsibilities and proposed member rights and responsibilities. Oh, and those.
Wait, is there a place on the national website? Since I don't know, many of us have trouble finding things on the national website.
I'll tell you what, I will.
Would you get a link to it?
Yeah, yeah. I'll tell you what, in the follow-up materials, we will send you direct links. I just tried to put a link into the chat and it unlinked. So we will be sending you all follow-up materials anyway. So we will send the links to both those proposed league rights and responsibilities and proposed member rights and responsibilities.
Barb, I found that the best way to find something you want on the US website to Google it first. Don't go to the
yes,
website.
I do that too. I did that for a lot of the convention stuff. I should know that.
Yeah, this is it just in general. I did it the other day to find something on their website.
Oh, good. And Beth, I had a follow-up question on that event in the box. Did you send that out to all to the presidents or chairs or leaders or what of it, the local leagues?
I believe it went to all presidents, but roster management is always an issue for us. So
Okay.
whenever you all have an election or someone changes offices, if you all could let us know, it sure just, that really helps.
Well, I'll just check with our presidents, co-chairs to see if they got them.
Great, great. And of course, we're happy to send it out to anybody who wants it. That is the end of my agenda, and we have a big 1 minute more for open discussion, for which I apologize. But I feel like we have had some good discussion in the middle too. But is there anything in particular you all want to talk about? Irene is great.
Oh, no, well, actually, I want to talk about the chat, and Frank put something that's interesting to me in the chat. Frank, if you could speak to this.
Sure.
I think this is an interesting idea that we get ourselves coordinated. Please explain what you're thinking.
Well, there are lots of presentations that people are doing around the state, and they're opening them up to all league members. And there's a potential to have 2 really exciting presentations on the same day.
Yeah.
And so I was asked to convey to people that our briefings will be always on the third Tuesday of the month. And so if people could avoid the third Tuesday of the month, then we wouldn't be stealing each other's audiences and we could share ideas better.
We really hope that all Colorado leagues are putting their events up to the state calendar. It's just a simple checkbox in Club Express. And if you, I feel like it's pretty run of the mill for most Colorado leagues. But if you don't know how to do it, don't hesitate to give us a call. But yes, and if everyone does that and then checks the state website before planning another event, and that's the tough part. But great idea, Frank. Christina.
Beth, did you know that you can start pushing us documents to our document library as well?
Oh.
Would you say that again? Sorry.
You can start pushing stuff to our document library as well. That was announced yesterday at the Club Express 66 preview meeting.
No kidding.
Huh.
Wow. Well, that is interesting. I will be looking into that. Huh.
Now that's a gold nugget you just got.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means.
That was worth
so.
hanging in here an extra 2 minutes past your time to hear that.
It means we might be able to actually share documents directly with local leagues that have Club Express instead of sending you up to our Club Express document library.
Okay.
It's nice to hear that Club Express is working at improving.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, 7:32. Anybody else? I'd just like to again welcome the new faces here: Maddie, Cindy, Hannah, Dana. Who else? There was someone else that I didn't know. But great to meet you all. Great to have you. Of course, it's great to see everyone else too. Go ahead, Karen.
Yeah, just very quickly, let me remind a couple of things. There will be, and I should have mentioned this earlier, there will be a fundraising presentation. I believe that's the 18th at 6:30 that you all are doing. And then on the 25th of August will be white paper committee is going to be doing a presentation on the Colorado election white paper. And there will be a link on the website for you to sign up for that. Please encourage other people as well as in addition to league members, any other people in your community, other groups that might be interested in participating. It's certainly open to them as well. And if you would like to have a presentation, especially for your local league, or if you would like to partner with other organizations in your community to have us do a presentation on Colorado's election system, we would really love to do that. One of the things that we think is really important this year is that Colorado voters understand how safe and secure their elections are, and that we really can be confident that when the Secretary of State says candidate XYZ won, that in fact that was who the voters' choice was. So again, I put my link in the chat. So if you need some additional information on that, I'm happy to visit with you.
Thanks, Karen. Good points. Yeah, $300,000 recounts usually aren't needed. But on that note, thank you all. Irene, why don't you close us out?
I just want to say thank you. You are all as advertised, a brilliant group of people. See you. Good night.
Okay. Good night. Thank you all. See, now wasn't that fun?
That was fun. Sorry, I wasn't more prepared for you.
Oh no, you were. I
What
thought
a
you were
great,
great.
what a great group.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a great group. This is easy.
Yeah,
This is
it's
easy stuff.
it
And
is
this
easy.
Such a good way to communicate what
Yes.
you need to get to them.
We're one big team here, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Right.
beautiful.
And it was good that you incorporated Karen and the local league stuff, so that she sort of takes the section of it each time, right?
Well, I mean, that's mandatory. That's the whole point of these things. You know?
Yes. Hey,
So-
is she gonna be on tomorrow?
Yep.
Okay, and then do you think Barb will be on tomorrow, or do you think she just hits the one time, or?
She didn't want a spot on the agenda.
Okay.
Because I asked her. Hold on, let me look.
Okay.
There are less people signed up tomorrow.
Oh, so the evening one's okay. Good, and I made it home in time. This will work out for me. Thank you.
Well, we had 32 people registered and 22 showed up.
Well, good deal.
Tomorrow we have 22 registered.
Okay.
So
Good
we'll
deal.
see. We'll see.
Okay, so tomorrow is at 10, right?
Yep.
So how do you want to do? What time do you want me to come to the office? Do you want me to come early? We talk agenda. Do you want me to, what do you think? When are you coming in? Are you coming in?
Let's see.
Are you going to do this from home?
No, I'm definitely coming in.
Are you home now?
What?
Are you
yeah,
home
I'm
now?
home now.
I have to say you do, your internet is better at home.
Oh, by far.
Oh my God, Beth, you're gonna have to do board meetings from home because
yeah.
I mean, you're so much clearer. Everything about it is.
Yep.
I hate to tell you that, sorry.
Well, we got to figure out the problem at the office, you know?
Right,
But yeah,
right,
you're
right.
right. It's way better here. But well, I mean, the thing is, I need to be in the office to support Hannah while she is learning, you know?
Oh, no, totally. No, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
We need to keep talking about this. No,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
So, but what time do you want me to be there tomorrow?
I mean, it doesn't matter to me. This starts at 10. So, let's see. And then we're supposed to talk to Sharon at some point, right? To kind of finalize the agenda.
Right.
So, but I think she said just call her.
Okay.
So whenever.
Well, then maybe I better come. Are you gonna be there by 9-ish?
Yeah.
Okay. maybe I'll come at 9, because then we get started. If we don't get a hold of her, then we can call her again after. It gives us
Right.
2 opportunities to reach Sharon, which we really want to do. And then we have to call this other person. Remember, we have to like reach out to somebody in Washington about the lawsuit.
Oh, yeah, we got to call Lunell. Thank you.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that I figured we would wait until after because right, she's an hour, 2 hours behind or whatever.
Uh-huh.
So, and she sounded like we could call anytime. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll just get there 9-ish if that's okay with you.
That's
And we'll
great.
we'll just figure it out. Cool. And, oh, so you're at home. Can I ask you this?
Yeah.
How's it going with our friend?
It is, I mean, like the day after our talk, I said to her, is there anything you'd like to talk about? And she said, no. And I said, okay. And I said to her, I just need to reiterate that when I tell the board that they shouldn't be directing staff, I'm not trying to hide your talents. I'm trying to protect you from being bombarded when you've already cried to me about that twice. These are not the exact words I said to her, but and she said, okay. And we really haven't talked much about it since then. I talked to
How was her work product this week? Did she do what you needed her to do?
Well, she's putting way too much time into this event. And we're not going to make any money on it.
Oh, shit.
And she's just putting too much, she's putting all of her eggs in this basket, and it's not going to happen. And
okay.
After you and I or after you and Sharon and I talked, or you told me you talked to Sharon. I talked to Sharon to ask her, from the like HR standpoint,
good.
What do I do here?
Yeah. So you got some advice. I'm so glad you talked to her.
And she is connecting me with like an independent person. But when Sharon told this independent HR kind of consultant coach about the situation, this person, her name is Tiffany, was like, oh no, if she's pulling this shit, when she hasn't even been there for 3 weeks, she's got to go.
3 months, 90 days.
3 months. Sorry.
Yeah.
So
I thought
let me ask you.
That email that she sent us, I've only heard from her one time, and it was the email with the Karen thing, which we can talk about tomorrow, about how we want to execute getting that to Karen. And because I think it's beautiful and I think it's great. And I think Karen will so appreciate it. Oh my God, Beth, it's going to be a huge win for us. And I am not giving her any credit for it. I'm just like pissed, so pissed. But the way her tone in that email, and then she says at the end, respectfully, I am finished with this or whatever.
I'm like,
who the F are you talking to? It's me and Beth.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden there's this weird formality with me, and I'm just like, okay, you're playing games. That's why I had to ask you, because the email bothered me.
Totally playing games. And like the more I think about it, the more I'm like, well, she talked to Irene. She had the warning that Irene had talked to me,
right?
And she just turned it on me to just deflect
me.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I mean,
Well,
totally.
both of us. Both of us.
And we're both so shocked because we gave her the opening to
Yep.
be, what was the word you used? Contrite. What was the word? Contrite. What was that the word we used?
Yeah.
We gave her the opening that all she had to do was do that. She
Mhm.
could have had a complete do-over, right? Like, let's start over fresh. You
Yep.
were like
Clean slate.
so ready to help her grow, and she just didn't want to do it.
No.
You know.
No. Well, can I ask you, did she tell you that I yell at her?
She said you get excited. Did she use the word yell? She alluded to the fact that you are angry. That's what it was, that you were angry with her and angry with me. Frankly, you were angry with me, you know,
like
with the
when?
whole miscommunication that when
well,
I
yeah.
talked to her, when I took that, right, I took that meeting, you know, Beth really sort of overreacted. Yeah. Watch out. She called me. Watch out. Beth's on a whatever. So I called you and you were like, I was like, Beth's not anything. Beth is Beth. Beth is like, oh no, yeah, I want to talk to you about that, but I can't talk to you now. Let's talk later. So you weren't even in such a whatever. She made it sound like you were kind of mad or in a tizzy, you know.
Okay.
I don't know what
But
word
like,
she used.
But in general, did she say that? I kind of got the idea from something she said, or that because, you know, when she kind of turned on me, when I brought it up the day, you know, she said, I can't talk to you.
Right.
And I said, why not? And she's just like, because you're always yelling, you're always angry. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Right.
I mean, if I get
And
animated.
honestly, Beth, you are not that way. I've never seen you that way.
And I mean, like, she and I would talk about something that was frustrating to both of us, and we both get animated and kind of riled up. And sometimes my voice would raise, but I would say to her, I mean, it was clear to me, it was very clear, but I was just making it clear. I hope it's clear I'm not yelling at you. I'm just like hollering about the situation.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even yelling, you know, just like getting all riled up, you know.
No, you do that with me. And and the funny thing is, now that I think about it,
it's not directed at anyone.
You always reference it like that with me, even when you and I start like, what the fuck? You're like, wait, you know, I'm not, I mean, you always are so careful of that I know you didn't cross the line on this.
I didn't.
About Laura, you know, Laura felt like you were whatever. Well,
a bully. And I resent the hell out of that, because I had told her, you know, about Ruth Stemler calling me a bully and how it hurt me. And so I feel like she just took that and used it, you know?
I don't think she's all right in the head. I think she's like a soap opera in her head. You know, she's just writing the storyline as she goes along, right? She's making it whatever she is. And it's like Donald Trump. What the hell? We cannot, right?
But she is always the victim.
Yeah. And honestly, for me, I have told you everything. I feel like you and I have been 110% honest. I withheld, but now we are so honest, and you and I are not trying to make this up. And we're not trying to actually, what is it when you, whatever torch, what is it called, that expression, when you do that to a person?
Gaslight?
Yes. We are not trying to even do that to her at all.
No, I feel like she's kind of doing it to me, though.
I absolutely, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
she has told me
was so so on the mark of being a bitch and
Yeah.
being like, I thought, okay, well, how do we play in the same sandbox of fundraising?
We don't.
Right? Because how am I going to go to a party with her and she doesn't like you or me?
Exactly.
It's a problem. She doesn't like either one of us.
And she doesn't think I'm doing a good job.
Yeah.
So
But-
how is she going to represent this organization? And
Right.
she's somehow gone from thinking I should be mayor to I'm not doing a good job in the
Right.
course of like 2 months. You know, that's like
Right.
a 180. I'm like, what the hell did I do?
And I am worried. So keep having these HR discussions because I am worried that she's going to sabotage things with like Karen or,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah, that is a very distinct possibility.
no, and at least Karen is pretty good at not going there with you. I mean, do you know what I mean? Karen is not the person that talks at the locker about somebody. Karen doesn't have time to do all that, and she's got her own opinions. But so I don't think Karen's gonna to take her in.
I don't
and
know.
listen to the drama. Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think Karen can be manipulated through flattery.
You
and
do.
And Lindsay is really good at ingratiating herself. She's fucking ingratiated herself to my dog.
Okay. Well, this
so-
just makes, I'll let you go because we both
Oh.
need a good night's sleep and we're going to talk about this tomorrow, but this
Yeah.
makes this conversation with Sharon tomorrow. And I mean, just the fucking fact that we have to use our second board meeting together about this is going to
know.
be the thing that we have to counsel the board. And it's my fault. I screwed up and I'm so glad I got caught. I'm so glad that this got like exposed early on because
Exactly.
if it's
Exactly.
me, if it's me, it's everybody else, right? Nobody else gets it, right?
Mhm.
And I do believe Sharon really is going to talk for us and be able to the fine line. There's a
Mhm.
difference. Like she can so articulate what gatekeeping means.
Yeah.
No, it's not gatekeeping. It's this, right? It's that. And it's what you
managing
said
her
to
staff.
Well, what you just said, you were protecting her. But
Mhm.
she doesn't want your protection because she doesn't like you.
Well, and she wants to be everything to everyone. She basically wants people to like her better than they like me.
Truly. But I think she's probably like that, period. She wants to be liked, right?
Yeah.
So you just have to be really careful with Hannah, I guess.
I know. Because of course she's ingratiating herself to Hannah.
Well, of course she is. And Hannah is like Jolie is gonna like love her,
Sure.
you know, and
Well, here's the funny thing. I mean, the bitch comes out in her, in Lindsay. And Hannah had been in the office for an hour on her first day when I heard Lindsay say to her, you know, you're really loud. Oh my God. Shut the hell up. And Hannah's, 22, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry. My mom tells me that too. And I'm like, Hannah, you be yourself, girl. So I think that, and Hannah referenced it later. She was like, well, I know at times I'm
hurt her
loud.
feelings. Of course,
On the first day. And she's like, we're having a daily meeting, the three of us. And I'm finding that Lindsay is not really saying much during these meetings, but then directing Hannah after the meeting. And I'm like, no. If there's something you'd like Hannah to do, you need to bring it up while I'm there.
Yeah.
Because just like the board can't direct you, you do not get to direct your peer.
There is something not right about this woman. How could she?
She just wants to be
possibly-
executive director.
I don't understand why she thinks she could be now, even after your discussion with her, after her getting caught with me. I mean, the whole thing, how could she possibly think that she would be in the running for executive director? Because I'll tell you what, if we fired you tomorrow, she is right out the door at the same time. I mean, there would be no way we would keep her. There's no way we would keep her.
Well, and I don't even know if it's that she wants my job. I think it's just she's struggling with not being the executive director. She's used to being the executive director
right
in other places, and she's not handling it well that she's not here.
Somebody in your local leagues, I heard this story from somebody, I wish I knew their names, was an executive director and then became something else, and it really caused a problem. Is it Larimer or Douglas? Who's the friend that I talked to at the women at the march?
Oh, Christina Manthe.
Now, did she have somebody in her league that she had loggerheads about because it was the same idea?
Kath Perrone.
Yes. So tell me, what was Kath's role and how did Kath overstep her something?
Kath was the office manager for Jeffco.
Okay.
And she had served on the state board for a long time, and she's still the Vote 411 coordinator for the whole state.
Oh yeah, so we love her for that work and everything.
Yeah,
She's
but
revered for
I
that.
mean, I see her, but you know, I love Kath, but I also know that she is an information hoarder, so that she can be the big person to jump out and know everything.
Yeah.
You know, and
so how she,
you know, she was just kind of doing her own thing and not doing what the Jeffco board was directing her to do.
oh,
And
so she wasn't the executive director, she was office manager. They
She was
didn't
office
have an
manager.
executive director, so to
No.
speak.
uh-uh.
She acted like executive director.
Yeah.
And they didn't like that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh.
and she's just, she was, Kath is kind of an old school leaguer, even though she's not that old, but she's been involved for a long time, and she does have a set idea of what the league does and is.
Okay.
Now, if you talk to her, is she willing to change? She would say absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and I do
But
love
it's the
Kath.
same rub. It's just a rub. And frankly, we really do not need another executive director. You're the 30,000 feet. What you need are worker bees. People execute your priorities and no more, no less, you know, and they can be friendly with all the members and they can be, you know, of course, but that's as far as it goes, you know. Okay, cool. And Hannah is as cute as can be.
Just cute as a button.
And she, when she introduced herself, I thought, oh, you girl, she just seems happy, like she likes her job. And
I think she's excited. She's been great. I mean, just throwing stuff at her and she's like, yep, I'll figure it out. And I think I told you, I was like, I basically offered the job to a girl with very similar qualifications.
You showed me pictures, right?
Yes.
Or their resumes. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I offered it to Madeline first, mainly just because she's Black.
Right.
And I wanted that diversity. And Madeline had already got another job. So we hire the cute white girl.
And she ghosted you. Right?
Oh, yeah. She did ghost me.
Whatever.
So we hire the cute white girl, and it turns out the cute white girl is a big old lesbian. So we get a little diversity in there anyway.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Wow, cool. What am I saying? I don't know, but
I
wow.
know.
Right?
But I said to her, I was like, huh, that's funny. It's just that the past so you're the third. I mean, because Laura self-identified as queer and Cameron's gay. So I'm like, awesome.
And Lindsay is, we don't know what she is. I'm
Well-
sorry, but I'm now having nightmares about her, so we'll see.
Well, I mean, I've told you that she's been married 3 times, but I think more than that, but she won't. Like, I think she might have been married 4 times already, and she's 43 years old. And hey, I mean, in a way, I like, wow, I kind of admire that like you really
Right.
have a lot of faith in marriage.
Right.
Because boy, mine's been shot to hell.
My last question for you about her. Does she make you at all uncomfortable when she's in the office?
Yeah, I
Oh,
don't trust
okay.
her.
Well,
I
then
don't
there you
trust
go.
her farther than I
If
can
it
throw her.
makes you uncomfortable, right?
And every time I leave the office to walk the dog, I wonder what she's saying to Hannah.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
You
we're gonna have to, I'm sorry, I don't know how you're gonna do it without a communications director, but maybe Hannah can step up and do a part of it and, at
Mhm.
least get you started and then we find somebody, but she's not the right fit. You know
Yeah.
what? I work with a big team in my department and I was just thinking today, there's not one person that makes me feel weird or uncomfortable or unaccepted, or we're just like, we all just do our job. We all work hard. We all are, shoulder to shoulder, but doing our own thing. And
Yeah.
but nobody makes me feel squeamish or uncomfortable or weird or,
Uh-huh.
And I thought, God, that's such a blessing because you can work your tail off if you don't have that.
Yeah.
Right? You
Yep.
don't have that. Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
it's a bummer.
It's a bummer.
Well, her 3-month anniversary is a week from Tuesday. And that is the end of her trial period. She had a very stated in her contract trial period.
No, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's just boilerplate. So
Damn it, she didn't even try during her trial period. She could have faked it with you for a couple of weeks. Do you know what I mean? She could have come back with her tail between her legs and faked it with you. But she
no,
doesn't
she
want
didn't.
the job.
Oh, and did I tell you that she turned around and said and told me that I do not run this office efficiently? I'm like,
what? What?
Okay, just fuck you, okay?
I'm so glad we got this out of our system. I had to do it with you tonight because I couldn't come in there tomorrow and us be petty tomorrow in front of, is Hannah working tomorrow?
Yes, Hannah
Oh, good,
will
because
be
I
there.
get to meet her. Great.
Yeah.
Does she have any weird food allergies or anything like that, of her?
Nope. She seems to eat and drink everything.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Okay, well, good. I can't wait to meet her. And now I've gotten the petty out of my system.
I'm not sure I've gotten mine out, but
well, we won't do it tomorrow morning, but we could maybe tomorrow night do it again.
Yep.
So, okay. Bye, my friend.
Okay, bye. Looking forward to seeing you in the morning.
See you. Bye.
Bye.